Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday stream. Today we are diving into it. This was all planned by Taylor, and we'll dive into how she had planned a countdown at the exact same time her letter was going to drop on the docket. And they served two different reasons. It's not as though she thought this countdown was going to bury the letter in legacy media. They served two different reasons. But we're going to look into that today. And then we're also going to look into the new articles that are dropping where Kevin Costner said the Stuntwoman admitted she lied now about what happened on set. What? So we're going to look at that, both those things, and we'll see how much time we have left. But I'm not feeling that great today. And we have the members only stream. So if you are a member, we have our members only stream at 11:15. So we will keep this to an hour. I'm going to hold myself to that. Let me know how you guys are doing. It's so nice to see everyone in the chat. Happy Saturday. Where are you tuning in from? What do you have with you? I have coffee. I need coffee. It's been a morning on the farm, guys. It's been a morning. Speaking of that, we do have the goat cam going. It's not on while I'm live right now, but we do have the goat cam going over on Misfit Herd TV. So you can see it's on the goat paddock and sheep paddock right now of our rescue goats. And then we will have some days where it's on the rescue horses and the horse paddocks as well. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive in, guys. Okay. Where do we start? Let me pull up this article because when this started dropping about Taylor's countdown, to be honest, I forgot about it. I saw the news of a countdown going up for Taylor Swift on September 11th, which in my head, I thought, well, wow, that's pretty tone deaf. Not only September 11th, I'm not saying Taylor needs to get involved in political stuff. In fact, I think it's probably best for most people, most brands to stay out of political stuff, unless that is part of their brand, which it used to be, but that's neither here nor there. However, it did seem tone deaf for me that she had dropped a new countdown starting on September 11th. And this was one of the articles that came out. Taylor Swift's album, this is from The Cut, rollout stops for nothing. Olivia Craighead has, she has guts to go against the Swifties. I even say anything like, you want a crash course on how to lose followers really quick? Suggest that Taylor is anything other than a perfect angel that does everything just out of the goodness of her heart. You suggest anything that's less than 100% on the up and up for Taylor, and you boom, lose followers like that. So good on you, Olivia, for pointing it out. And essentially it's calling her out for posting this on September 11th. So she says, for the past 24 hours, every piece of news has made me want to go, the average celebrity might take a look at the news cycle right now and think, maybe I'll take a break from promoting my upcoming project. Maybe I'll wait until there's a little more oxygen in the room. Well, Taylor Swift is not the average celebrity. On Thursday, Swift plowed along with her regularly scheduled programming, releasing yet another countdown on her website tied to the upcoming Life of a Showgirl. Actually, if we're being specific, it's a progress bar that will eventually reveal a countdown, I think. The whole thing is kind of confusing. On Swift's website, she's asking fans to pre-save the album, and when enough of them do so, it will unlock the newest countdown page clip from Life of the Showgirl. It's all confusing. But the weird thing for me, now that I'm looking backwards on this, because originally, like I said, I thought that's pretty tone deaf. But looking back on this now, it is really interesting to me that the thing got unlocked at essentially the exact same time as the letter hit the docket. That seemed really weird for me. Thank you, Leo, I always forget. Luckily, I have you. Yes, please like the stream. If you're new here, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, even though it doesn't really ever work. Hello. Thank you. Ashley, you're welcome. It's always an honor to be here with you guys from New York. Not too far from me, although I'm on the other side of the border. So this is what showed up on September 11th at 11 a.m. on Taylor Swift updates. Taylor Swift website has a new countdown. Unlock the newest countdown page clip from Life of a Showgirl. So you had to pre-save on Spotify, pre-add on Apple Music. I don't even know what that means. I'm old. I'm of the era of movie store or video stores where you rent movies. And I think that was actually my first job at the local video store. and the era of CDs. So I genuinely don't even know what that means. However, you had to pre-save on Spotify and pre-add on Apple Music, and you had this bar that would release the next step. Well, it's interesting to me that that bar unlocked at the exact same time, essentially, that we had the letter drop. So anyway, she goes through this, and of course, the Swifties are doing the Swiftie thing with the Easter eggs. So it said, based on calculations, the progress bar is currently hanging around 50%. So we may have to wait a while before we get to see whatever it is that Swift is promoting. The weird thing as well is history would suggest that things tend to move very quick for Taylor. Why did it take 48 hours for this to fill up? It's just weird. It's just weird, right? Now, what I saw today is what was revealed, and it's over on X. I'm going to show you guys. Guys, and I'm sorry, Swifties, there's going to be a little bit of shade in this, but it's owed. Girl, Taylor, if this is what your marketing is for this album, you have time for a deposition. You have time for a deposition, girl. This is what was unlocked. This is on a loop. It was a GIF, basically. Allegedly, my opinion. That's it. And the interesting thing is you're actually seeing a lot of pushback from Swifties. You're actually seeing a lot of pushback from Swifties being like, we waited 48 hours for this. Like, this is what we get. She's probably going to copyright strike my... I'm going to get a copyright strike for sure for showing this. Or I'm going to get hit with the Swiftie bots. But a lot of Swifties are upset about this. It's interesting to me because all of this video hit at the exact same time the letter hit. Now, I believe they were serving two different purposes. I don't think she was thinking this would hit legacy media. She knew what would happen in legacy media. And let's see, she has authorship, to steal a word from Blake Lively. And so it just goes to show all of this was PR, which really... Guys, I try really hard. I even know how her marketing, the psychological aspects of her marketing, I try so hard. I try really hard to get on the Taylor Swift thing. And then shit like this is pulled. And I'm just like, girl, I genuinely try. So she knew this would be the state of, well, actually, I'm going to back up one step. And for those that are new here, I have over 15 years of experience in branding, marketing, and PR, and SEO is my baby. It's what I love. I love puzzles. I love how we can figure out puzzles, how we can get something a trend based on the puzzles and keywords. And I'm just obsessed with SEO, which is search engine optimization. And it's essentially, how do we optimize the search engine of Google to make something trend? And if you've watched my content for some time, or if you haven't, something, for example, that Blake and Ryan have used consistently is called flood the zone. So during Blake's Another Simple Favor tour, essentially, marketing, she was doing flood the zone. She was everywhere. She was covering every single headline on every single platform. And you would go to Google and it was just pages and pages and pages of new articles about Blake Lively, and they just didn't stop. That's one tactic that we see. Keyword hijacking is another one we've talked about. We saw this happen in the Rebel Wilson Amanda Ghost case, where I'm going to die on the hill of. Amanda Ghost was looking to, her PR team was looking to get that headline trending, which worked. People started talking about the case more. It got my attention. So hijacked the keyword Blake Lively, which is a trending keyword, put it in the title, put it in the headline, optimize the article with Blake Lively. It ends with us, Stephanie Jones, all these fancy keywords that would get something trending right now. Hijacked the keywords, got that at the top of SEO, got that at the top of Google. So that's another one that we see often happen in kind of these PR campaigns. What Taylor basically did here is, it's just narrative control. There were two options for the headlines today. There were two options. One option, she didn't have control of. So whether it was Blake's team leading the narrative or Justin's team leading the narrative. They were headlines that she herself didn't have authorship over. The other option was to put a letter on the docket and decide what the narrative was going to be. But she knew either way, well, her team, Tree Payne, if Tree's still with her, knew either way that Taylor Swift and either Blake Lively lawsuit or It Ends With Us lawsuit or Taylor Swift and Justin Baldoni was going to be the number one trending thing. So you're always wanting to look what is at the top. Because most people, the vast majority, do not leave page one. They don't click away. In fact, your all page is your gold here. Right? I had already clicked over to news. Your all page is going to be your gold. Every time you ask people to take an action, whether in marketing, in Google, on YouTube, every time you ask people to take an action, you lose people. Most people are going above the fold on the page they land on. They're not really worrying about videos, short videos. Most people that are looking for videos go to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. They're not going to Google then to search videos. Oh, whoops. Why am I didn't know I had another tab open. There we go. Sorry, I just had to close the tab. So this is what she wanted authorship over, was the top stories. So she, in my opinion, dropped. I'm going to step back. Let's pull up the letter actually as well, because I believe they said they had 3 days, her team. Yeah. So they said they had 3 days. This is my theory on why Swifties, y'all got a shitty gift. This is my theory on why y'all got a shitty gift. And sorry I'm not more in the chat today, guys. When I'm not feeling well, it's harder to focus. So I have to stay out of it a little bit. But I will touch base in the chat in a minute. Alexis, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It goes right to our animals that you guys can now watch, our rescue animals, over on the Goat stream. So 3 days ago, they said that they got word that they were going to, Justin's team were going to officially depose Taylor Swift. I'm not a huge believer that they had no heads up that this might be in the pipeline, but okay, let's go with 3 days ago. Justin's team had reached out and said, final, like, yes, 100% we're going with it. When can she come in? We'll work with you guys. So they had 3 days notice to put something together to give a nugget to the Swifties. Because if you're going to have headlines that aren't really great for you on Google, or you're going to have something come out that's not really great, kind of what the mindset here is you want to throw a crumb to the Swifties. And I'm sorry, I'm not being rude, Swifties, at all, but that is the marketing behind it. That is the thought process behind it. Like, give them something. So they had 3 days. We know from this timeline, they had 3 days from she's going to be deposed at the end of October. Well, then what? Within 24 hours of them getting notice from Brian Freeman and Justin's side, all of a sudden, a countdown pops up to get people talking about something else? Because prior to these headlines, the headlines all were new countdown for Taylor. And the only one was the woman that did the cut interview questioned. So Olivia Craighead was the only one that questioned the timing. Everything else was all about so exciting. Taylor has a new countdown coming, new exciting drop for Life of a Showgirl. So she was dominating the headlines, but that was within 24 hours of the news that she would be deposed. The news that might provide headlines that she didn't have control over. So she had, and I'm telling you, Swifty, this is why your drop was so shit. Why you waited 48 hours for basically a bad gift. She had 3 days to come up with something. Therefore, from the time she found out about the deposition and she would be deposed, she had 24 hours to put a countdown up, which is, in my opinion, also why it had to go up on September 11th. It had no choice but to go up on September 11th, which also means she couldn't post about September 11th, because if she posted about September 11th and about a new countdown, I feel like that's even more tone deaf. You can kind of play dumb a bit if you don't post about September 11th as well. But if you post about September 11th in the next slide, I think you'd upset people a little bit more if it's like honoring September 11th victims and the very next slide is, oh, hey, pre-order my album or pre-save or whatever that means, right? So she had 3 days. Within 24 hours, the countdown goes up. This countdown had a bar on it that said once the bar was completed after an imaginary elusive amount of pre-saves, it would unlock. We know from history with Taylor, things move like that. We also know based on her social listening tools and everything that she has a massive amount of paid accounts that follow her and bots that follow her. So we know things move quick. So it took 2 days to pre-save. It took 48 hours to pre-save. It just happened to show up at the exact same time the letter did. I don't know. Feels too convenient for me. But I do think it backfired in some way, because if you go and you look at a lot of the discourse on X around Taylor Swift and that GIF essentially that was released, Swifties are like, pardon? What? We can actually pull it back up and I'll show you guys. It's not just me. Go showgirl, give us nothing. Oh, Taylor baby. I waited 2 days for a countdown only to get a GIF in return. Single-handedly ruining the excitement of countdowns. I know this is a free thing to unlock, but this is really it. Nothing else. Okay. No way I waited this long for this clip. I hope there's more. I don't want to be angry at her, but this is really pissing me off. Why did we have to make that countdown for suspense just for us to get this 3-second clip with no sound? Guys, when will you learn not to trust Taylor Nation? Look what the fandom became. I miss the old times. The countdown just for this. Taylor, you could have just posted this to your Instagram. This is what we waited for. The countdown was a GIF. She forgot the audio. You have some people holding on to hope. Bless your heart, my friend. Has to be an Easter egg. So I think it actually blew up in her face. However, I genuinely think that she had to do something to give the Swifties something to kind of like divert. It wasn't for legacy media. It was for the Swifties. Period. And no one's going to convince me otherwise. Maybe she's moving to the New Heights podcast for announcements. Only half kidding. I wouldn't even be surprised. So, overall, I'm going to say I'm disappointed in this whole thing. The more I put together the pieces of what led up to this with the countdown announcement on September 11th. Oh, I better pause this again because I'm definitely going to get copyright struck. Let's pull up something else. Yeah, the more I just see it all roll out, and then I see how headlines that she wasn't in control of lasted maybe 20 minutes, literally, at most. And now she knew, because I want you guys to keep in mind, like she knew either way there were going to be headlines about her, Blake, Justin, the lawsuit. By putting that letter on the docket, she controlled what those headlines would be. And in my opinion, threw everyone under the bus. Justin, Brian, Blake, everyone got like run over by the bus. Mostly Brian Freeman and Justin Baldoni. Now, do I agree that if we're to believe everything they had just heard that she was going to be deposed? No, I don't necessarily agree with that. I also don't agree with the conversation that Wayfair had 6 months. They didn't. On our stream yesterday, we showed that they had the end of June, they received Taylor's text messages. So at best, we're looking July, August, so 2.5 months to have gone through everything. We don't know how much they received in regards to that. So yes, we could argue that, okay, they could have reached out in the end of June or beginning of July to Taylor, but it wasn't 6 months. But I do agree. I'm not a huge fan that it seems to have just been the last few days that they finally locked her down. So anyway, guys, it's just, I think what's happening, in my opinion, is that Taylor's, looking out for Taylor here. I don't think that letter was pro Blake at all. It definitely wasn't pro Justin. She's taking no one's side. But also, it goes to show she's kind of at the level of like a corporation. What built Taylor's brand was being human. What built Taylor's brand was like standing up for causes and doing things for her fans and being in it with her fans. And it felt very organic and authentic back then. And I think she's gotten to a place where the brand's becoming more corporate than anything. So you're getting these corporate statements, you're getting these corporate headlines, you're getting the almost fear of taking a stance on things for backlash. And so even for those that are pro, the Justin side and Team Justin, which I am, of course, as well, I think even if she shows up for a deposition, I think it's going to be rehearsed up the wazoo. I think she's going to be on script. I don't think it's going to be juicy. I think it's going to be like white toast, overburnt white toast with no butter. Honestly, I think her deposition is going to be burnt white plain ass toast that's stale with no butter. And you're going to have to choke it down because I think she's going to be very rehearsed. So I do not believe at this point that she is pro Justin or helping Justin. She is looking out for her own interests. And then, that's a totally different conversation of is she entitled to that or not? Depends on the brand. Ultimately, depends on the brand. To me, what I always thought of with Taylor was a brand that took a stand for something, a brand that took a stand for topics she was passionate about. She was someone, people are saying, well, Taylor has nothing to do with this. Well, bullshit. Watch my video that I did yesterday. That's bullshit. Blake said she's a witness. Blake added her in. Blake said she is aware of what happened on set, that there's contemporaneous text messages, that she's aware of the harassment, the toxic environment. Blake said that. Forget even all the times, because you could say, well, Blake said in interviews that she was with her every step of the way, that Isabella said that Taylor helped her get hired. We can leave all of that out. You can even leave all that out and be like, I don't believe Blake anyway, because we have her lawyers signing shit that says, no, Taylor Swift is a witness. So she is involved and she still won't take a stance either way. And if you look at her history, she took a stance against the DJ, which was personal, fair enough. She took a stance with Kesha. She's spoken up on many things, even politics at times that she was passionate about. So it's not like I'm talking about a brand that has never spoken up. There are brands that have never spoken up, and I'll be like, yeah, that's their brand. They never speak up. But that's actually not her brand. It is now. It definitely is now. But you can't tell me someone that was best friends with Blake for 10 years knows nothing, especially when Blake Lively said it herself, that she's a witness. So anyway, that's my summary on Taylor. I think this was all planned. She had 24 hours to come up with something to throw a crumb to the Swifties. So she came up with this cheap ass lazy marketing hack, which was that GIF, essentially. The countdown, in my opinion, was always, regardless of how many pre-saved, it was always going to unlock at essentially the same time as the letter that hit the docket, because the letter that hit the docket was for mainstream media. The countdown and the GIF was for Swifties. I agree. Taylor is only looking out for Taylor, which is a shame because she knows a lot but prefers to keep silent. Yeah. Life is karma. Her time will come and she'll regret the wrong she's done. And that's the thing. Everyone has to live with their own karma. Yeah. And thank you, Voldy, because she could have dropped a song, but instead a dumb GIF. And that's why I'm saying this was all thrown together. There was no time to put, when you have like 24 hours to put something together, she had no time. She had to like do something fast. And it was probably, they pulled a clip from one of the videos. It's probably exactly what happened. Someone on her team, an underpaid intern, maybe, I don't know, because it was really, it's even fuzzy. It's not even a good clip. Went and pulled it, smacked it together and threw it together. It was lazy. For a full team that she has, I mean, it's not like Taylor's a one-woman show. For a full team she has, they could have come up with something better. Maybe it wasn't enough time for, another variant or a new song, but they could have come up with something better. Thank you so much, Alexis. I appreciate the support so much. You guys are the best. And thank you for my mods showing up today. I don't even think I let you guys know that I was coming live. I'm not even gonna lie. Right up until coming live, I was lying on my couch, just like Can't do it. Can't do it. I just need a rest. But then I knew you guys would give me life. So I was like, just hit live, girl, and you'll feel better. And it's true. Okay. So that's my thoughts on Taylor. Let's swing over to. Yeah, I still have. Thank you, though. I'll have a top up. Can't have too much coffee today. Hi, Julia. You got a banana? All right. Let's go over. Now, this is interesting to me. I haven't been following. Let me know if you guys have been following the Kevin Costner case. You weren't going to go live. I was literally half dead on the couch. It would have been a live stream of my ceiling. But I pulled it together. For you guys. Also because, like I said, I love you guys and I knew I'd feel better once I came live. And then we have the members only at 11:15 as well. So members, stick around. We'll be going behind the headlines. I have all of the social monitoring tools up. So we'll go behind the headlines and look at what's going on because it worked for Taylor. It worked. And we'll see how and why it worked on the social monitoring tools. But her plan for all this worked. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been following Kevin Costner, but he essentially was accused of this woman had said, and I can't remember all the details off the top of my head. I didn't prepare with all the details. We've covered it in the past, but this stunt woman had essentially accused him of SH on set, of inappropriate conduct on set, that she wasn't properly prepared for this scene and essentially traumatized by it. And it's turning out now that she's admitted she lied. What? She's admitted she's lied. I just can't with all this, guys. Thank you, Mr. Lord, for the support. I appreciate you guys. Remember her face of utter shock when she was booed at the Super Bowl? That's true, too. Of utter shock. Yep. Yes, that is a good point. I feel I had said the ways I thought Taylor could make adjustments this year. And the sad thing for me is I feel they've been disingenuous how she's gone about them. But, we'll see what happens. Okay, Kevin Costner. This is wild. And how bad is this for this resurgence of Me Too? Because we also have Blake Lively, which at this point in time, I mean, is she even talking about SH anymore? Does she even talk about it? I haven't heard SH in ages in terms of Blake Lively. Mostly it's now Justin and Wayfair hurt my feelings. People have hurt my feelings, so I'm coming after them. People don't like me, so I'm coming after them. Seems to be the focus now. But the concern I have is real victims. So I worked in women's shelters and group homes and after school programs and all kinds of mental health programs. What concerns me is if it turns out, which I believe it will at this point in time, if it turns out that Blake Lively had lied, again, my opinion, I'm open to having my mind changed, Blake. I am open to having my mind changed. If it turns out she had lied, this woman lied, allegedly. We're going to read the article together. I just saw the headlines today before I came on. What does that leave for real victims? And this is what infuriates me. Where what has happened is a movement for real victims has been warped and twisted to fit a narrative for women to get what they want. Allegedly. But let's read. Let's see what it says. Kevin Costner, Horizon Stuntwoman, is self-professed liar. She did talk blocking with someone. So this just went live yesterday, late afternoon. Let's read the update last. Kevin Costner's lawyers want the lawsuit alleging he made a stuntwoman participate in an unscripted grape scene dismissed because he says the stuntwoman suing him has changed her story, essentially admitting she lied in the original complaint. The actor's lawyers filed more legal docs in the case, and now they're pointing out Devin Labella, a stuntwoman on Horizon 2, previously claimed she was thrust into the movie's grape scene without any discussion beforehand. However, they point out she now admits another individual, stunt coordinator Wade Allen, met with her in advance and explained the shot to her in advance. Costner's lawyers also say LaBella admitted before she blocked the shot she knew the basics of what would happen, including she'd be lying down the back of a covered wagon and the actor in the scene would grab her dress and push it upwards towards her knees. The lawyers say her claims to the contrary simply don't hold up. So they want the judge to throw the case out. Remember, Kevin Costner previously asked for a judge to dismiss this lawsuit, calling the accusations against him absolutely false. Most recently, LaBella claimed she was menstruating on the day the scene was shot and claimed her scene partner, Robert Ivins, put his hand on or near her area. Marty Signer, Costner's attorney, has previously called BS on LaBella's claims as well. We reached out to LaBella. So far, no word back. So it looks like they did do a statement. This tends to be, I'm noticing, more and more popular. Not sure how I feel about it, but more and more popular for PR teams to not respond and then wait for the article to drop and then respond, because look at what is at the top now. And this is becoming more and more popular, is PR teams to wait, then respond later. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind on how I feel about it yet. So 3:30 p.m. PT, an attorney for Devin LaBella tells TMZ it's disturbing to see the defendants continue to mansplain to Devin what her own experience was on set. She has sworn under oath to the truth and has produced contemporaneous proof to back it up. Miss LaBella's claims have never wavered or changed since the day she first reported this terrible incident to production in May 2023, right after it occurred. What do you guys feel? I'm going to, it's so hard, these cases. And I meant to get you guys the timeline for the Rebel Wilson and Amanda Ghost case, because and then yesterday blew up. So it is going to drop this afternoon, I promise. Yesterday just blew up on the docket. We ended up streaming twice yesterday. It's just so tough because in that case as well, there's so many different layers of what's going on. Accusations from Rebel Wilson that Charlotte McInnes was SH'd by one of the producers, not necessarily on set, but there was inappropriate behavior also on set, false imprisonment, all kinds of crazy shit. I'll be interested to see this case, honestly, go to trial if it does, because Costner's side and this Wade are saying, no, we met, we explained, she knew. And she's saying now, like, to me, and look, I'm just trying my best to stay objective with all these messes and all these lawsuits. What it kind of feels like to me is like, you can't tell me my own experience. So sure, maybe I did meet with Wade. Maybe Wade is coming out now, and there are messages with Wade saying she knew, she was had it explained, she agreed, and she's saying, yeah, but no, this was my own experience. What's going to happen with movies? What is going to happen with movies? It's going to all be AI soon. It's going to all be AI. Everyone's going to be afraid on set. I just don't understand. So it's going to be really interesting to see this case if it does go to trial. Because it says here, in her initial complaint, LaBella claimed she was not forewarned about the scene. Costner says no. She altered her version of events in the latest legal documents. And to assert that in her newer filing, LaBella let slip that stunt coordinator Wade Allen met with her in advance and explained the shot. Costner directed, co-wrote, produced, and starred in Horizon. And he said that there are lies against him. And she's still saying that they're trying to mansplain. I don't know what to think anymore with these cases. I genuinely don't. What do you guys think? I want to hear from you guys. Foldy, yep, we could. And, you know, and I think different countries have different, not that I think grape is a great thing to have in a movie for sure. I think different countries have different comfort levels with what is and is not shown in movies as well. Cultures have different comfort levels with what nudity and etc. is shown and not. So, you know, I think it's it's a difficult conversation to parse on what should and should not be in a movie. Is it okay if something's 18 plus? Because if you're going to see something that's 18 plus and it's in the contracts, well, the people that signed the contract said they would do the thing, and the adults that are going to see an 18 plus movie have agreed that they're okay with seeing the thing. It's a difficult conversation. In my opinion, if everyone is fully on board, have signed the contracts, there's no last minute changes, like they know fully in advance what they're getting into, and they have fully eyes wide open agreed to it, and the movie is appropriately labeled on the back end for audiences, personally, I don't feel like I should be dictating what an adult's comfortable filming and what audiences are comfortable seeing. But I don't know. Maybe they'll just have to, all of that will have to be taken out of movies eventually. But then people go, people listen to true crime podcasts and people watch movies about these, these killers and these world renowned killers. That's not the right word I'm looking for, but I'm at a loss of the word I'm looking for. So I don't know what the line is. Like, we're okay being like immersed in these true crime podcasts and true crime documentaries and true crime shows, and we're fine with that. But then if it's fake, it's not, like, I don't know. It's just such a nuanced conversation, and I don't know what the answer is. Studios will all move to AI to eliminate all this drama. I agree with you. I think they are going to just move to AI. Yeah. I'm laughing my ass off. That's what I've been talking about with my buddies. Everything is going to be AI to avoid all this mess in the future. AI can do some wild things now. I think so. I think so. I think Hollywood's being exposed. Yeah. I think also that. Absolutely. Was there overnight news on Taylor? I don't think so, other than what we covered. The stunt woman is Heather McDonald's niece. Who's Heather McDonald? Oh, okay. I had to Google that. I'm sorry. I did not know that, though. I did not know that. This case is, all of these cases are like true crime series. I agree with you guys. I agree. Yeah, I agree, Alpine. It's such a hard situation because I do agree with Devin in the fact that, like, well, if things crossed a line in the moment, she was uncomfortable. How do you tell her she wasn't? And then the conversation then becomes, well, do you just cut out anything that could be seen as, well, then do you cut out action scenes because someone might get, punched in the face or accidentally hurt on it? Like, I don't know. It's a tricky conversation. It's a tricky conversation. Oh, I agree. I don't like TMZ. They're not professional at all. However, they are just reporting on the newest documents. They are court documents that hit the docket. And I just didn't have time to pull up the court documents. So I'm just pulling up legacy media talking about it. But it is in the latest docs. That's a good question. Is there even a PR out for Justin the Wayfair parties with all the horrible headlines about them? Let's pull up. We're going to look at some of the other players, but we can pull up Justin here and see what's going on. Actually, let me pull up the report. All right, I'm going to pull up the report. It's not great, guys, so just brace yourself. So this is from, I have two different types of social monitoring tools. One I use for clients, which I don't use with the public and on public streams, so I don't accidentally pull anyone up. Oh, thank you, Voldy Echinacea Fun. Get well soon. Thank you so much. You guys are so kind. I'm So this one isn't as advanced as the other one I might use with clients or that I do use with clients, but it still gives us a great picture on what's going on. And I'm comfortable using this for just tracking public cases. It's less expensive. You know, the fancy PR tools, you're looking at like just a social listening or social monitoring tool like this can run $50,000 plus per year. This one that I use with the public is, you know, a few hundred per month. And we use it just on the cases. Okay. Not great, my friends. Negative mentions are up 3,828% in the last 24 hours. And this is the stuff that PR teams would be monitoring. I can break it down as well, even more. So I just have this here as just my general. I pulled up the report for the general project I have under Justin Baldoni. But you can do like Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni deposition, Taylor Swift. Like you can break it down and have keywords as well. So this is just my general project for him. So social media reach is up 2,611, but it is up based on negative mentions. And I'll loop back to your question, but I just want to see what's going on first. So in the last 24 hours, he's only had 11 positive mentions. And then 10 48 hours ago. It's not good, guys. I'm not going to lie. His sentiment share is overwhelmingly negative. The neutral is getting much bigger. So you're seeing a lot more neutral content. Oh, that's what I meant to talk about. Will we have time? We'll have a few minutes to quickly talk about Colleen Hoover. Overwhelmingly negative, or sorry, my apologies. It's overwhelmingly negative because neutral won't count. When you're looking at this, because you might look at this and go, well, actually, it's overwhelmingly neutral. It doesn't count. Yes, we see that as part of the bar, and neutral is getting bigger, which is genuinely nice to see. However, if you follow his social listening and the tracking of sentiment, essentially what that does is track sentiment. What are people saying? Who's saying what? This would have been where Blake got all her content creators to subpoena and tools like this, because it's going to break down who's saying what and who's trending, who's gaining the most traction, et cetera, et cetera. This is what Blake would have used. So the problem I see here is sometimes I could argue and I'm like, okay, great. So it's getting more neutral overall. And there are times I could argue that that is a positive, but what we're actually seeing is the neutral is coming out of his positive mentions. So this positive is getting smaller and neutral's getting bigger. So neutral's eating into the positive. And when you're tracking something from a PR perspective, you want to track and this is what I said previously as well. You're tracking red. Actually, if you're in your 90-day PR playbook, you are going to learn how to do this for your own brand. I'm going to teach you how to do this on like a very basic bitch level. You don't have to spend money on all these fancy tools. I'm going to teach you how to do this. But you're going to do red is negative. You'll have yellow. Some tools have yellow, some have gray is neutral, and then green is positive. So what you're tracking is just not, thanks, Leo. You're the bomb. What you're tracking is just not, this content creator. So say me, Ashley saying positive things. So she's in the bucket of pro Justin Baldoni. You also want to track trends. Well, for example, let's just use me as an example. Is she overwhelmingly positive and putting out a lot of positive content? So she's green, 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 green. And then Justin's team logs into their social monitoring tools, and all of a sudden I'm gray or I'm yellow, I'm neutral, right? You want to track that because now you're going to start to see those accounts that were beneficial for your side. Doesn't mean you're paying them. Those accounts that were beneficial for your side, what are they doing? If there's news that comes out and they shift, you want to be able to track that. And so you're tracking how people move either way, and you're also tracking how sentiment's moving as well. And so for me to see that neutrals eating into the positive is not a great sign. Negatives 23.3. The overwhelming emotion on X is disgust, 521, which has gone up. Social media dominance. So what you're going to see, and this sources share, you're also going to get a glimpse into someone's campaign. So Ryan Reynolds, he did shift at one point where it was overwhelmingly negative and it was on social media, but you could tell with Ryan, you could track that his PR was focusing on legacy media. So he had overwhelmingly positive on legacy media, and that would have been a win for his side, even if they saw some negative stuff on social media. This is a loss for Justin because it's very clear his team is focusing on social media. They're not really focusing overly on legacy, right? Yes, they hit it, but it's not a huge focus. It's very clear they're leaning on content creators. Now, the social media dominance here, we break down with news 28.0. So for someone that's on a social media focus, it's not the end of the world, although that's a huge chunk of it. The biggest thing is going to be is X is growing in terms of not good mentions. Most of the mentions are on X, and they're growing on video. Now, I can break it down more, but it gives us an overview. Video would essentially be like your YouTube would fall under that, which includes legacy media, of course, because you're going to have like a YouTube video or a short that legacy media will put out as well. But any of your video content's under there, that's growing. So to circle back and answer the question, which I wanted to show you guys the back end of where I'm going to get my answer from. I like transparency on this channel. I like to show you guys, because before, even when I would talk about stuff like this, no one believed me. I'm like, guys, this is where I'm seeing it though. Like, I'm not making this up. So I like to show you guys, where am I pulling this? So on the spot, without looking at anything else, I mean, it's not good. I'm not going to lie. It's not good. And what you're going to see, the longer this case goes, is it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So Justin had a lot of positive press in the beginning when Brian came on, and they really corrected the narrative. But I do feel they're losing some traction around that. And I don't think it helps that I do think his team has made his legal team has made some errors. For example, I don't understand, if they had all this proof on why Taylor's hyper relevant, why didn't you file it with the letter? They submitted it after. You know how this judge works. You know this judge is going to make snap decisions in Blake's favor. Like, put it all in one. So I do think there's been some missteps. And I think what we're going to see is Blake's team's playing the marathon, even if they get really bad losses now. I know it's not popular to say, but I am seeing a decrease in positive sentiment over time for Justin. I watched the goat cam and it's so cute. Kenny, I love you. You're like, I can change the subject and say that the goat cam's so cute. I love you. It is pretty cute though, right? And we got the audio going on it now. So you'll hear the roosters and the crickets. We'll probably do a night stream tonight. So anyone that's on a different time zone, if you need something relaxing to listen to, and there's a light on it, so you might see them moving around, but you can hear like the sounds from the forest behind it. Thank you for that break, Kenny. I love you. I do think there's a way back, but I think Justin's going to have to play the long game. I think there's a lot of damage being done right now. I think a lot will depend on what Hollywood does. If they keep backing Ryan, Blake by association with Ryan. And I know this isn't popular, guys. I'm going to get unfollows, unsubscribes for this, but I try to be honest here and I try to give you the objective truth. And so if people need to leave for that, that's okay. It's not good. It's not good right now. And I think that unfortunately the legal team has set some losses up that were unnecessary losses. I do think that even though they didn't have 6 months to get Taylor in, I do believe if they had reached out earlier and made more of an effort, as the judge had said, like, what was the effort to try and get her in earlier? I do believe if they had subpoenaed her, and maybe they were trying not to because they were afraid of the optics, right? And that's part of it. Maybe they were afraid of the optics of dragging her in and they were trying to work with her. That's a hard lesson to learn, that she was looking out for herself and she would throw them under the bus on the docket. So I do believe there was an aspect of being cautious in their approach with Taylor to avoid the headline that we're dragging Taylor in by her hair to a deposition. And I think in trying to be cautious of the PR headlines, they made a misstep on the legal side. And I'm not a lawyer, so what the fuck do I know? But they made a misstep on the legal side because it gave Taylor an out. And it gave Blake and the judge a reason to say, like, you didn't work hard enough to get her in before. When I genuinely believe that the reason why they didn't work harder to get her in before was because they were nervous about the PR headlines. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. I'm articulating this all in real time. I haven't really sat with this and I'm sick. So let me know if I'm articulating it properly, my intentions there. Because we've talked about it previously and I've said, in this race, essentially, in this battle, you have a PR horse and you have a legal horse, right? If we think of like 4 horses in this race, you have Blake with a PR horse and a legal horse, Justin with a PR horse and a legal horse. And you have to, and I described in the past, you have to be very careful that the legal team is not knocking out the PR horse and your PR team's not knocking out the legal horse. And it's going to be a back and forth where one's in the lead and one falls behind. And it's a strategic choice of which one's leading and what you want to do. I do believe, in my opinion, Justin's side was nervous of the headlines of forcing Taylor in. And I think that caused a legal misstep. Now, they can still subpoena Taylor, but then Taylor's side, we'll see what they do. She said if she's forced to come in, she'll go in. So does that mean if they issue her a subpoena, she won't fight it? Maybe. And if they issue her a subpoena and they say, look, girl, it's for September 20th. And she's like, sure, whatever, I'll be there. Let's not make a fuss about this. Let's not put it on the docket so it doesn't. It's 11/11 for anyone that believes in numerology or angel numbers. And she's talking about Taylor and angel numbers. She loves numerology. So it might be they send her a subpoena and she doesn't fight it because she doesn't want the headlines around fighting it. That's very possible. And then they get her in. It's under the radar. We'll see. It's very possible that happens. It's not as though the judge said that they can't subpoena her. I do think there's just been missteps, honestly, that have made an impact. I believe long-term in the industry is going to be a wild card because of Ryan. I think the industry currently is backing Ryan. Blake is backed because of Ryan. That might change. I think it's going to be difficult to get that to change, if I'm being honest. But Hollywood can be unpredictable. Sometimes they throw someone under the bus that has a lot of pull. What you'll likely see with Justin, I think, is one of 2 things. Is he'll take more of a back end role in projects. So kind of continue doing what he's doing, but more of a back end role. Or number 2, pivot and do something a little bit different. I know that's not what anyone wants to hear. And in terms of PR right now, they are in a sticky spot, guys. Because no matter what they do, Blake hits the docket and hits the news with bullshit. If they had dragged Taylor in by her hair, 7-minute timer. I love you, Leo. We might be a little bit late for the members only. That's okay. You guys are probably here anyway. Had they dragged Taylor in, Blake would have used that against them in legacy media, in headlines. They didn't do that. She's still using it against him. So I do believe, I can only hear pivot in Ross's voice. I agree. I do think he's in a tricky spot. I don't know what the right... I think what's going to help the PR, think back to those horses, right? The PR horse and the legal horse. I think what's going to help the PR, that's like starting to lag, is for that legal horse to smarten the F up and start getting its shit together and stop having losses, because Blake just uses the losses against him. I think the best thing they can do for PR right now, and that's going to be my final opinion on it, best thing they can do for PR right now is get their shit together legally. Stop making stupid mistakes. Honestly, stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. that they're going to hold up their end, or they're not going to be shady, or they're not going to be sketchy, because they're going to. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. If Blake wants to run in the headlines about you dragging Taylor Swift in for a deposition, let her. But I think what he needs more than anything is for to stop taking those losses on the legal side, which will help the PR. That's my final answer. I know I beat around the bush a bit because it's uncomfortable for me to say. I genuinely like him. I like Justin. It's hard for me to even get those words out. It's hard for me to look at stuff and be like, this genuinely sucks. But my final answer is the best PR right now is to get shit together legally. Like, stop. Like, even certain things, whether it's true or not, whatever, but the certain things that Blake is able to hit them with, of like, they haven't handed this over yet, and they hit us with these at the last minute. Get your shit together. You know she's going to use that against you. That's her ammo for PR right now. That's the best ammo Blake has for PR against Justin right now, which has nothing to do with SH, which is the sad part. She has no way to take him out with SH, with proof of the SH, because y'all know we'd hear about it. We heard about some rando that had an issue with him, that he yelled at him allegedly on set. If she had proof, we would have heard about it. So it's very obvious that her only way of taking him out in PR right now is for the mistakes and the missteps that his team is using, or his team is making. So show up, pull your big girl panties up, your big boy panties up, and get things done on time. Send it over. Like, be like the teacher's pet. Be overly diligent with this judge, because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. The judge is going to look for a reason to rule in her favor. You make any mistake, they're going to rule against you. So just be on your best behavior. The judge just ruled on what she was entitled to. I'll see if I can pull it up. And I agree, Mary. I adore him too. And I think that's exactly what I'm trying to say in regards to Taylor Swift. I do think a piece of it is they're trying to be nice, trying to avoid dragging her in. Maybe they even put it off so long because they were trying to avoid bringing her in. And they're like, fuck, we have no other choice but to bring her in. That's possible too. Maybe Justin literally said to his team, I don't want you dragging Taylor into this unless you absolutely have to. And then the 11th hour, they're like, shit, Justin, like, we literally absolutely have to. So, I agree. There's a time and a place for being nice. And sometimes you just got to, when the other side's willing to play so dirty and the judge is willing to look for any reason to rule against you, you gotta be playing teacher's pet. Put a fake ass smile on. Put a pencil between your teeth if you have to. So you have a fake ass smile for the judge. Get things done in advance. Be diligent, as he claimed Blake is, which is a whole load of bullshit that I'm not even going to get into, or we'll be here all day. But be diligent, like he says Blake is, because you know he's going to rule against you. And you know he's going to look for a reason to rule in Blake's favor. And you know she's going to use, that is Blake's PR playbook right now. Because before it used to be Darvo, Me Too, Buser playbook when he would defend himself with PR. Her PR now is all another legal loss. I got what I wanted. A judge supported me. Another legal loss. He gets shut down. And Taylor didn't help with her bullshit that she put on the docket. But that's the PR ammo they have against him right now. And they keep using it. So they need to wake up. If you're watching Justin's team, wake up. Because that is what her PR ammo is right now. So I think his best PR move is to worry about shoring things up on the docket, being extra diligent, best behavior, don't upset the judge, go above and beyond where the judge is like complaining you're doing too much. And I think that's going to, when you start getting those wins, Blake's going to have to look for something else. She'll look for something else, inevitably. But right now it doesn't look good. But it's the legal losses, I think, that are hurting him more than anything. Yeah, JT, I feel like JB's legal team doesn't care. At least that's the optics. I know I'm very confused on what's going on. I'm very confused because, yes, it does give the optics of like throwing a letter at the judge and then being like, oh shit, here's all the evidence of why Taylor's relevant. It's like, why didn't you put that in the first letter? You know how the judge operates. Oh, damn it. Let's pull up the new filing quick. We'll be a little late, members, but we will. Oh, it looks like it's only paid on Pacer right now. Let me see if someone sent it to me in my DMs. Sometimes I get it sent to my DMs. Okay, looks like a picture was sent. Let me just pull it up. Sorry, guys, just give me a second. It's in my DMs and it's just a photo. I'm like, I'm live. I'm trying to refresh this too. Why is there no document there? Let me show you. Sorry, I'm like, my fever is going up. So if it looks like I'm sweating, I am because my fever. I wasn't joking when I said I wasn't feeling well. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, so order denying 769 letter motion for leave to file document. Oh. So this was the letter from Ellen at Brian's firm. Dear Judge Lyman, as counsel for Wayflower Studios, LLC, Justin Baldoni, et cetera, we write pursuant to rules 1C and 3A of your honor's individual practices to respectfully request leave of this court to file a surply of no more than 2 pages in response to Plaintiff Blake Lively's reply, docket 762, in support of her motion to modify the court's case management plan and scheduling orders, docket number 753. While the Wayfair parties ask that the court consider the arguments raised in connection with their opposition to the motion, they also seek leave to file a surplus. I'm probably mispronouncing that, to provide the court with documents demonstrating the relevance of Taylor Swift's anticipated deposition testimony and responding to arguments newly raised in Lively's reply. Accordingly, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court grant leave for them to file a letter brief in reply to Lively's reply. And that was denied. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then this one, no one can find documents for. Order on motion for leave to file document. No one can find the documents for it. Okay, that's in Jones versus Abel. Let me pull that one up. Y'all know I'm loving the Jones docket right now and following the Jones docket because that is also where I'm waiting for any updates for the whole. Oh, I don't even have it. Why did I close that page? The Rebel Wilson one as well. We'll look at it quick and then we'll flip over to the members only. Oh, it's still not there. Interesting. All right. So it looks like we haven't been able to get access to it yet. We'll see what happens. So pretty much JB should just not do anything. Well, I think getting his legal case sorted definitely is doing something for sure. Because that's going to fix the PR side right now, because that's what Blake's using as ammo against him. That's weird. We can't find it anywhere. So this is Stephanie Jones and a declaration. Okay, they're just going back and forth on what should and should not be included. All right, guys. I don't know. We'll see if anything comes up on that. But that's interesting. Seems to be something to do with Jones and Abel. All right, my friends. With that, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to hop over to the members only. Not to sound paranoid, but what the hell? Yeah, this whole case is what the hell is basically what I ask myself every day on this case. Not even gonna lie. That is the soundtrack in my brain as I look at anything to do this case with this case. What the hell is going on? But no one can find it. It's listed there, but I'm talking to someone in DMs right now. And no one can find it. Even to pay for, which is weird. Okay, my friends. We'll keep you posted. If that comes up, I'm not going to go live again on a Saturday. If it shows up live or during the members only live, we'll go over it in the members only live. And I'll post a screenshot of it over on Instagram stories as well. So if you're with me over on Instagram at Ashley Brianna Eve, I'll post a screenshot of it in my Instagram stories to see what's going on. All right, my friends, I hope you have a beautiful Saturday. And with that, I will see you on Monday. I'll see you on the next one. And if you're a member, I'll see you on the live that's going to start right after this. Bye, guys.